Hey there. I got a headache. I'm feeling a little bit sick, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to share with you. So, as I was sitting on the couch blasting through social media, as one does when your job is my job, I got the idea to see how ChatGPT does to summarize a game. Now, I've already seen several pieces of content where ChatGPT ends up playing somebody, and without fail, if the person's really good at chess, ChatGPT gets smoked. Just so you know, this is December 2025 right now. So, sure, in the future, I'm sure it'll be different. Of course, right now, Stockfish is the chess engine that performs the best. It is not even a contest against the best players. Stockfish will win. But what I decided to do is I was going, well, hey, I know that ChatGPT can go through files, can interpret them, create stories, create images, all that kind of stuff. But I was like, you know what? I wonder how it does at summarizing a game. So, with no further ado, let's pull up the game. Now, this is a nice short game. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go through the match, which I can tell you I was given an 88.1 accuracy on this game. So, it was a solid game, really short, just 12 moves. And we'll see what ChatGPT has to say. Now, the first thing it mentions is that it's the Ross Gambit. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, no, it isn't. But anyways, its summary is, here's the tale of your game. The Ross Gambit kind of story where white walks into the center, grabs a pawn, and basically says, sure, I'll wreck my own kingside structure, but I'm taking your king on a tour. Sounds exciting, right? Let's find out. Opening scene. Is that pawn free? So we start out with NF3 as usual. If you're a follower of Chess with Investors, and then he comes out, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. White starts ready style, flexible, calm, not committing pawns yet. Black answers by staking an immediate claim in the center with E5. And takes E5. White snaps off the E5 pawn. This is the Ross Gambit idea. Take the pawn and dare black to prove it was poisoned. Next up, D6. Black does the correct practical thing, attack the knight and try to regain the pawn without opening lines too early. Next up, white retreats back to... Oh, sorry, I shouldn't be adding on anything other than it says, because otherwise that'll just mess up everything. Anyway, NF3, white retreats as intended. The point isn't to win a pawn forever, it's to make black spend tempos while white develops smoothly. The trade, I'll give you structure if you give me targets. So this says bishop to g4. Black pins the knight and develops with a threat. Pressure on f3 and the idea of trading off a key defender of white's center. Next, h3. White immediately asks a bishop a question. At this level, forcing decisions is powerful. Either the bishop retreats, tempo loss, or trades. Bishop takes f3. Black chooses to trade. This doubles white's pawns if white recaptures with the g-pawn and removes a developed piece from the board, which can reduce white's attacking chances, but only if black is careful. G takes f3. White accepts the ugly pawn structure because it comes with hidden perks. 1. The G file opens, which is future rook pressure. White gets the bishop pair. I'm going to stop right there and mention that. So bishop pair, that means that I have both of the bishops. The other guy is missing a bishop, so they can work in tandem, so it works really, really well. Anyway, and black's early bishop is gone, meaning black may struggle to control dark squares later. Setting the board. Both sides pick their battlefield. NC6, so knight to C6. Black develops naturally, adding pressure and preparing an F6 and or queen to D7. So let's see here. So preparing an F6, which has already happened. So that's kind of an F6. What? An F6 all the way over here. Oh, okay, yeah. Saying so it's either this or it's saying queen to D7. Like that, okay, and then also castling long, okay. So king over here, rook over there. Anyway, next is bishop to g2. White develops a fianchetto bishop where it's happiest, a long diagonal that can become dangerous if the center opens. Queen to d7. Black's queen comes out early for a clear plan, support long castling and connect rooks. Knight to c3. White develops and increases central control. Also, importantly, this knight helps support an eventual d4 push. Long castle. Black commits King to the queen side. That's a huge narrative decision. It announces I'm going to play for activity and counterplay, not slow safety. But it also means if white can open the queen side quickly, black's king may be in trouble. The shove, open lines before the king gets comfortable. D4. White strikes in the center immediately. Textbook response to opposite side castling or an opponent who castles long early. The goal is to open lines while development is ahead. Next, F5. Black counterattacks the center and tries to justify the pawn grab line by generating kingside play. It's aggressive, but it also loosens black's structure and can create tactical holes. D5. White kicks the knight and gains some space. White kicks the knight and gains space. This is also a positional trap. Push pawn chains can restrict black's pieces and make it hard for black to defend the king if queenside files open. If queenside files out. Okay, that's not my grammatical error. That's ChatGPT's. ChatGPT's. Anyway, next. Knight CE7. Okay, so the reason why it says CE7 is because it's telling you the two different knights can both go to that square, and it's telling you which one it is. Anyway, the knight retreats to E7, which is often a bit clumsy. Black's pieces are starting to look crowded. Never a great sign when your king is on the side where the crowd is forming. The fuse is lit. Okay, when I ever have these weird summary sentences, that's basically like chapters that it created. Next. Bishop to E3. White develops with purpose. The bishop points towards the queen side and supports ideas like queen D2, which is this, or queen D4, which is this. And man, this is making me dizzy like crazy. Anyway, and potentially long-term pressure on the A7, and C7 squares. Okay. Next. It goes king to b8. I'm going to add my own thing saying this is usually a good idea when you long castle because that way the king supports all three of these pawns, so that way it's a lot safer. But anyway, it says a very common safety step in long castled positions. Tuck the king away from potential checks on the A file or tactics on C7. Sensible, but it also hints black already feels danger. Queen to D4. This is the big story move. White centralizes the queen where it can. 1, IA7. Okay, that's back over here again, which is very important. Coordinate with bishops and support on the queenside king. And support attacks on the queenside king. It also often baits black into awkward defense because the queen is suddenly creating threats without sacrificing development. NF6. Black develops and attacks the queen's central influence, also covers key squares. This is the last normal move before the tactical punch. Weird. Okay, and finale. That pawn was never just a pawn. Queen takes A7 check. Right, exactly. So white grabs the A7 pawn with check, and that's the moment black resigns. Why is it so crushing? Because this isn't free material. It's king exposure. The queen on A7 checks along the 7th rank / diagonal lines, and black's king on B8 has very few safe squares. Very few. In other words, 1. Anyways. The A7 pawn was a key shield. Once it's gone, the king often faces a series of forcing moves, checks, where black can't coordinate defense in time. Black's pieces are awkward. The E7 knight is uncoordinated. The E7 knight and uncoordinated queen side mean it's hard to trap the queen or block checks cleanly. It's hilarious. How do you block a check from a queen that's touching it? Anyway, whatever. In a lot of similar patterns, the next threats can include queen A8, like this, check, rook B1, rook to B1, rook to B1. Oh, yeah, you're doing that, okay. And then long castle, or long castle if possible, or simply continuous checks that win material or force mate. Even if there isn't an immediate mate on the board, black often feels correctly that the position is slipping into a forced loss scenario, especially at rapid time controls. The overall why of the game, in one breath. White gambited structure for initiative, punished early long castling by opening the center, then used queen centralization to make a7 a tactical weakness, ending with a forced check that made black's king position feel hopeless. And that is the summary. Now, of course, where do I even begin with this? Maybe I should start at the beginning, but I think the thing that makes the most sense is the fact that you can even see here in the evaluation. Oh, sorry, I forgot. You can't see my cursor. If you look way down there on the far, okay, so it's your left, it says it's a big white bar and it says M1. That's the computer stockfish evaluation bar. It's solidly white, which means that black doesn't have a chance. Now, if you see M something in that eval bar, it means there's a forced mate, and this is a mate in 1. There's literally only one thing the king can do, which is move over here, and then if I move my queen right there, it's checkmate. It's mate in 1. There's nothing else it can do. So, as far as the ChatGPT summary, again, this is 5.1. I didn't mention it's Chat 5.1, but I did mention that it is December of 2025, so you should be able to deduce it that way if you really care about the versions and all that kind of stuff. People know that ChatGPT is not where it's at as far as chess goes, but more importantly, of course, I was trying to give that summary the best day I possibly could by using, radio voice and exciting storytelling tricks and all that kind of stuff as much as I possibly could. So I wasn't paying 100% attention to the summary of what I was saying, because I was more reading at the same time and making sure that I was getting that kind of entertaining aspect to it as much as possible. But my interpretation, my impression as I was doing it was, this seems like word salad and a bunch of it is just simply not applicable. So if I go back and go from the start and give my own summary, actually it's kind of interesting to see what the game analysis says as well. But anyway, so I put out my knight. He does this. This is just a blunder, okay? It's like giving away a free pawn like this. There's no advantage to that. So I scoop it up. He goes over here and threatens, which is the computer. The little star means that's the best engine move, which makes perfect sense because I don't really have a viable target that's worth a knight. A knight is worth 3 points. Pawns are worth 1 point. And so basically, if I were to, for example, take this pawn, the only thing that it can attack, I'd be giving away a 3-point piece for or call a minor piece for a pawn, or for 2 pawns, really, and that's just trash. It's a terrible idea. So I move it back. Best engine move, apparently. So then he ends up coming out to even the computer, the ChatGPT mentioned that this is pinning the knight. It's not really pinning the knight. If my pawn was out here, it would definitely be a pin, because then if I move my knight somewhere like over here, then the bishop would be able to hit the queen. But of course, the pawn's still sitting there, so it's not really a pin. If like, oh no, he'll end up hitting my pawn, and then the queen will take it back, because it's a 3-point, minor piece instead of the 1-point pawn that'd be lost. But anyway, so that's why the computer isn't crazy about that. I do the best move and tell this bishop to get the boop out of dodge, as we say. And apparently the best move was to trade the pawn. So I end up, it says that I should actually open to the outside, and that's probably because I can come out with check right here, force all sorts of nastiness and all that kind of stuff. And then also it gives me the opportunity to castle over here, but that's all fine. So anyway, he continues development. He brings out his knight. It's saying right here, from the, I see the arrows that I drew last time are still in there. But the idea being to castle queenside, since this pawn's already gone, apparently, and it seems to be part of his plan. I fianchetto. The eval bar didn't really like that too much. It says I should have gone ahead and taken up some space in the center with this D pawn. And I see that, that like, because this knight's sitting there, that's not bad. If he takes it, then I'd be able to take back with the queen, but whatever. I shouldn't be second guessing the stockfish numbers here. ChatGPT was good in the sense that it said that this prepares for the long castle. So that part's all cool, but it's interesting to see that knight over here is a better move. C'est la vie, it's not my move. So I just continue development. And that's the one thing, if there's nothing else that you learn from this video, the thing you should learn is that when your opponent does something that's suboptimal, not very good, whatever you want to call it, the best trick consistently is just to keep on developing. Okay, so like personally, I don't even use this move right now. It's interesting that it's telling me that I should keep on rushing up with this pawn here. But anyway, he does the best move of castling. I end up bringing out, it's apparently best move, bringing out that D pawn. He brings this pawn out here, which is apparently an advantage for me. It says that he should have moved this one right there, probably just because it would take out additional space. I wouldn't really be able to move my, bad arrow there, I wouldn't really be able to move my E pawn to E4 because then there'd be two attackers, this pawn and that pawn, but it is what it is. I go up here to threaten this knight, and simple enough move, especially since I can back it up. If I move this up here, then that has additional backup, but it's already supported twice, once by the queen and once by the knight. So he decides to run away with his knight over here, which I suppose that's interesting because if the king eventually goes over here, he's protecting these three pawns, as I was mentioning earlier. Anyway, so I continue development, bringing my bishop out here because I see, all right, well, this pawn is just hanging, so I'm literally aiming for that one. He moves over here, which gives me the other idea, which is like, oh wow, I can create a battery, and if bro ain't paying attention, I can go snap and it's going to be over almost immediately. And sure enough, the blunder comes. He brings his knight out. I think he was aiming for, I don't even know what bro was thinking of, because honestly, this knight comes out. He might be able to hit this pawn after my other stuff moves. Right here is no good because of the pawn. That's no good because of the pawn. This is a safe enough move. But honestly, this move is just generally kind of trash, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised because this was a bullet match, and this was back when I was under 800. But anyway, so I take the pawn. He realizes that he is completely toast, and he resigns on the spot. So that is my summary. Why don't you mention in the comments below on which one you prefer? Did you actually learn more, or did you find yourself more entertained by the ChatGPT summary? Personally, I don't think I'd learn anything from the ChatGPT, or much of anything, but that's me. And as you can tell, I can at least string together this sort of win against what was it? Stockfish says, yeah, my opponent had a 56.7 accuracy, which is really not good, and I had 88.1, which is it's solid. Like a grandmaster wouldn't beat themselves up over that, especially in a bullet match. If you're talking classical, where you got basically 2 hours to play the game, they're going to be 94, 95, even 98 accuracy. 88 in a bullet match is still solid for on the upper tier, but that's what it is. Anyway, let me know what you think. Don't try to learn chess from ChatGPT. It's not there yet. Maybe it'll never be there. Maybe there'll never be a priority. But the fact that it can just take a PGN and string together a story that seems to make sense, it's pretty impressive. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because I want YouTube to pay for these videos instead of me. I think that would be amazing. I've been doing this for years and haven't seen a dime from them. It's actually kind of pathetic. But that's what we got. Anyway, talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.